The history of human entertainment is a fickle beast. Sometimes we want to watch things that make us question who we are and what our meaning in life truly is. And sometimes we want to see two dudes punch each other up and off a building before playing a children's card game. We're talking about the last one this time when it comes to Revelations of the Sea of Orichalcos. It's a mindless entertainment flick, and boy do we love it for it. Now, this one was requested by Spooky Electronics and Mad Mike Sports TV. And today, on Christmas Day, I'm going to be breaking down one of the best duels of Revelations, Travis the Trainee versus Chimera. But first, a bit of background. First, we have the main hero himself, Travis the Trainee. He was being trained by, at the time, the world champion, before said champion was taken out by one of Valtor's henchmen, and before Travis could finish his training, hence his name, Travis the Trainee. Meanwhile, Chimera is a clone of Valtor, the main bad guy of the series. He's a member of the council that Valtor plans to use after he takes over the world to keep order. He was told by Valtor to take Travis's soul, as well as his Egyptian god card, Obelisk the Tormentor. In addition, he's ordered to eliminate Travis's best friend, Carlos, who has stolen a card from one of Valtor's henchmen in a previous episode, and that card is the Seal of Orichalcos. Chimera is successful in taking down Carlos by shooting him with a gun while Carlos is drunk on the power of the Orichalcos. Chimera doesn't take the seal though. He takes Carlos's hat in order to whip Travis up into a frenzy, so he'll be so mad he can't think straight and makes massive misplays during their duel, thus making stealing his soul much easier. Now, Travis got a phone call from Carlos while he was being mugged. I guess Chimera called Travis when Carlos was giving him the last gasps to try to attract him to come? I mean, otherwise what's happening? He's just being like shot at and he just like, hold on! Let me get my phone first! What the freak? What happened? Now hold on, you cocksucker. I got help! Either way, if that was Chimera's plan, it works, and Travis rushes into an empty construction site where Chimera drops down and Naruto runs right at him. The fight begins and it's Chimera's turn, and since he ambushed Travis, he gets to go first. He starts with a haymaker to the face, followed by 3 swift punches to the chest and stomach area. He then grabs Travis by the shoulder, and I assume, based on the angle, knees him in the face, ending his turn. It's Travis' turn. He starts by wiping the blood off his face before going in for a right hook to the face. However, Chimera counters by raising his left arm, blocking Travis' attack. But Travis then nails him with a left hook, stunning Chimera, and letting Travis get in a right hook to the midsection. He then goes in for a right hook to the face again, but Chimera is able to dodge, and this is where the dark clothes in the dark room becomes a problem. But what I assume what happens is, after Chimera dodges Travis, he then trips him, causing Travis to fall to the ground. However, Travis is able to turn this around, as since he's on his hands and knees, he can then activate the effect of his positioning, letting him donkey kick Chimera in the gut, knocking him back. Travis ends his turn. It's Chimera's turn. He starts by removing his mask to reveal that he's a clone of Valtor, and to prove that he's taking things seriously now. With that, he ends his turn. It's Travis's turn. He goes in for a flurry of punches, but Chimera blocks and dodges them all, even grabbing Travis's arm with his right hand. Travis is bewildered and forced to end his turn. It's Chimera's turn. He immediately drops Travis's arm, and he begins to strangle Travis with his right arm. He begins to choke the life out of Travis, and this is where Chimera makes a massive misplay. He throws Travis straight up headfirst through 6 levels of what I assume is solid steel. This is where speculation comes in anyway, because the texture isn't really detailed enough to make it obvious. I'm just assuming steel based on an outside shot that we see later. It could be concrete or wood. Hell, it may even be more than 6. I only assume 6 because we see him go through 5 levels, and then the intro plays, and when we come back, he's on the top floor recovering. So my man could have gone through 20 floors. We don't know. Given the scale on how big the distance is between levels, we'll just say 6 to keep things easy and somewhat plausible in surviving. Oh, and for the record, yeah, he survived that. Yes, he survived being thrown through 6 layers of reinforced steel face first and only took general body damage as though he was a Dragon Ball character being thrown through a mountain. He's not even knocked out. He's able to stand up again like, man, that hurt. Ugh. On the bright side, my back cramp is gone. And now we have a new problem. Because Travis was thrown straight up. So after inertia stops, gravity should take control again and cause Travis to come plummeting right back down the hole he just made again, and right to Chimera's feet. But he doesn't. He's just on the top floor even though he didn't get thrown at an angle or anything. So what I suspect happened during the intro is Travis started to fall back down again, but managed to grab on the side of the hole he made, and he started to pull himself back up. And when we cut back, he's in the ground recovering from being thrown and from pulling himself back up. There is a break before the fight starts up again, so I imagine Chimera was watching and waiting for Travis to fall back down again, and, I don't know, RKO him or something. Only to see Travis grab the ledge and pull himself back up, and I imagine his reaction was something like, "You cannot be serious. Did I pick a fight with Son Goku or something?" Actually, wait, no! It gets even dumber! Because Chimera was told by Valtor specifically to take Travis' soul, not kill him! So either Chimera chose to disobey Valtor deliberately, something Valtor will not be pleased by. This is a man who put a hit out on a man who he knew was going to die of a disease in 2 weeks. He is not going to be happy about not having Travis' soul. Or Chimera did all this damage to him and threw him through a building knowing that Travis would survive it, in which case he must be the luckiest man alive because he ends up being right about that. So this entire exchange is a misplay. If you want to kill Travis, what you should have done back on the ground floor was just keep strangling him. Hell, use 2 hands for Obelisk's sake. He reacted worse to being choked than thrown. Of course, there's only a misplay with the benefit of hindsight, because let's face it, if you're going to throw a guy through 6 levels of steel face first, you'd probably feel safe in assuming that, at bare minimum, they're going to be unconscious. But Travis is the exception to the rule. And Valtor is too, probably. We don't know. Nobody's ever tried to throw him. Imagine if that's how they beat Valtor in the end. They just do this to him and he dies. And if you didn't want to kill Travis and knew he'd survive, then why continue the fight in the first place? You have him in a chokehold. Bluff and tell him to activate his duel disc or die. Then just have the card game. God, this entire scene is stupid on so many levels the second you put any amount of logic into it. It only lasts like 10 seconds. But the point is, misplay to Chimera. Let's just continue and hope nothing this insane ever happens again. Anyway, it's Travis's turn. He gets up, takes his jacket off, and stretches, showing he isn't screwing around anymore. He's on high alert for a man that was just thrown through several layers of solid steel, and is able to find Chimera. Travis goes running in, doing some wild swings with both hands, probably figuring one's gotta connect, right? Wrong, because Chimera chains by putting both of his arms up, blocking both hands and forcing Travis to end his turn. It's Chimera's turn. He begins by connecting with a palm strike to Travis' midsection, knocking him back. He then goes in with a haymaker to the head. However, Travis is able to dodge it, negating the attack and forcing Chimera into his end phase. Misplay to Chimera again. He should have done that knee to the stomach area again. That way Travis can't dodge, and if he somehow does, you aren't left wide open to an onslaught. Regardless, it's Travis' turn. He starts by landing another kick to Chimera's stomach. Chimera is knocked back and stunned, so Travis follows this up by connecting the kick to Chimera's left shoulder. He does this to force Chimera to turn around, and when he does, Travis can punch him square in his right cheek. This makes Chimera turn around again, and gets uppercutted by Travis, making Chimera woozy on his feet. He then walks back and reaches the edge of the building, but manages to regain his composure just in time, as well as relocate his jaw. Travis then goes in running, trying to push him off, but Chimera grabs him back, forcing them to fall down together. I wasn't going to call it a misplay that Travis didn't decide to go in for a punch or kick or spear, but he's probably remembering the last time he did that, Chimera dodged and tripped him, and doesn't want to risk that happening again. With this move, he at least makes sure Chimera goes down with him. Plus, if Travis can survive going up 6 stories, he can probably survive going down it too. Anyway, Travis and Chimera fall for a few seconds, and Travis is able to put Chimera on the bottom. Well, bottom bitch. Their fall is broken by a parking garage, and Chimera lands on it back first. Travis gets up, picks up his dual disc, which is here for some reason. Maybe it slipped off the body during the fall, and he walks away. So in the end, while Chimera had some impressive moves, dodging, blocking ability, as well as some feats of strength, he made way too many misplays. Travis, meanwhile, was a stronger fighter, and when it connected, it freaking hurt, based on how often Chimera got lightheaded. So in the end, I think Travis was the better fighter. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below, and...
You think I am defeated?!
Oh right, they duel! I forgot this was a Yu-Gi-Oh show! Ugh. Yes, even after all that punishment, Chimera isn't done yet. This entire two-parter is just the Randy from South Park line. I didn't hear no bell. Anyway, Chimera gets up and grows a dual disc out of his arm. He then pulls out Carlos's hat and throws it to Travis. He lies to Travis and tells him that he beat Carlos in a duel and stole his soul. Travis vows to take down Chimera, Valtor, and end this whole sick game. He puts the hat on his shoulder, naturally, and the duel begins. Oh right, a quick thing before I forget. Revelations uses its own custom cards. They do use real cards, of course, and a couple anime cards from time to time. So yeah, expect to see a lot of cards that don't exist in real life, especially from Chimera. Also, another thing I didn't notice until I was actually editing the video, I'm gonna call Chimera's effects that he activates from his hand monster effects, but that's not actually accurate. They're actually spell effects. How did I get those two mixed up? Well, unless you've seen this too already, you're gonna find out in a few minutes. But yeah, just know whenever I say that he activates a monster effect from his hand, I mean spell effect. Okay? Now, let's begin. The duel begins and it's Travis' turn. He draws, and his opening hand consists of Pot of Duality, Torrential Tribute, Particle Shield, Lightning Vortex, Draining Shield, and an unknown card. This card will never be seen, never be used, and, well, will never be played, so let's just say it's Tyrant Dragon. Why not? Anyway, he begins by activating Pot of Duality. By excavating the top 3 cards of his deck, he can add one of them to his hand, and the rest are shuffled back into the deck. However, Travis cannot special summon for the rest of the turn. He reveals Cryoseg, Negate Attack, and Gift of the Mystical Elf. He selects Cryoseg. He then summons Cryoseg in attack mode. Wait, attack mode? Why summon a monster with 0 attack points in attack position? I know Travis is probably trying to bait Chimera into summoning a monster, thinking that he'd be able to beat over it and do massive damage, only to get torrential. But Cryoseg still has 300 defense points, and you can set monsters in this show. So why not just set the egg, set the torrential, and end your turn? And for the record, he's not going to set that draining shield at all for several turns. So unless he's afraid of a blind MST, double misplay Travis. Travis sets his torrential tribute face down and ends his turn. It's Chimera's turn. He draws, and his opening hand consists of Pentacle Gear, the Pentacle of Iron, the Pentacle of Healing, the 5th Pentacle of Mars, Full Salvo, and the Pentacle of Solomon. I know, there was a real card in there, I was surprised too. He summons Pentacle Gear in attack position. Now the card art says it has 1,000 attack points, but the stat bar says 0 attack points, so I'm going to assume the card is wrong and the attack point of 0 is right. Now, summoning Pentacle Gear itself isn't a misplay. I'm just wondering, why are you summoning it in attack mode? Now, Pentacle Gear's effect is that once per turn, if it were to be destroyed, you can discard 1 card from your hand instead of it being destroyed. So you may think that Chimera is going to have Gear attack Egg to try to destroy Egg, and use Gear's effect to both save itself and destroy the Egg. Except there's a little known ruling in Yu-Gi-Oh! Monsters with 0 attack points cannot destroy each other by battle. So Chimera has made the same mistake Travis just made by summoning his Gear in attack mode. The only difference is that Gear can actually help Chimera's deck function, but he still summoned a 0 attack point monster in attack mode. What would happen if Travis summons Obelisk on his next turn? Chimera would lose, and Valtor would be even more pissed. So, let me get this straight. You not only didn't get the Orichalcos card from Carlos, you also tried to murder Travis the Trainee after I told you I wanted his soul, and you left yourself open and got OTK'd because you wanted to have a cool anime moment.
Yes, Master. But I didn't kill Carlos. I made sure of that. I shot him and everything.
Ah, I see. That's good. And I have a new mission for you.
Yes, Master?
I'm sending you to hell to check. The only way this makes sense is if Chimera knew what Travis's face down is. And he shouldn't, because as far as he knows, it's either going to be negate attack or gift to the mystical elf. But yeah, misplay Chimera, unless you can see the future, in which case, not a misplay. Let's continue. In response to parallel gear being summoned, Travis activates Torrential Tribute. However, Chimera responds by activating Pentacle Gear's effect. By discarding one card from his hand, the Pentacle of Iron, only Cryos Egg is destroyed. Then the Pentacle of Iron's effect activates. Since it was discarded, Chimera can special summon it as a level 4 Earth Warrior monster with 1800 attack and 2000 defense. He summons it in attack mode. Iron's other effect then activates. On summon, it can banish Travis's entire hand until Chimera's next standby phase. Chimera then has Pentacle of Iron attack directly, dealing 1800 points of damage to Travis. Then, during his main phase 2, he activates his continuous spell, the Pentacle of Healing. Now, during each of Chimera's end phases, he gains 500 life points per Pentacle monster he controls. He ends his turn and thus gains 1000 life points. Why he hasn't set full salvo, I don't know. I know he has a monster effect in hand, so he's probably setting it for that reason. But he can still set the card just in case. Not a misplay, just questionable behavior. It's Travis's turn. He draws and gets Swords of Revealing Light. There's a continuity error here. Travis's hand is back even though Chimera just banished it last turn. It's just a hiccup though. Doesn't impact the duel other than a slightly weird moment. Anyway, Travis activates the Swords of Revealing Light to try to stall for 3 turns. However, Chimera chains, activating the effect of the Pentacle of Mars from his hand. When the opponent activates a spell card, he can discard this card in order to negate and destroy that spell card. And now, since Mars was discarded by its own effect, it can special summon itself as a level 3 Earth Insect monster with 1500 attack and 1200 defense. And as long as Mars is face up, Travis cannot activate spell cards at all. Travis kneels down, unable to comprehend what he can do to win, but since he doesn't have any cards left to play, he ends his turn. It's Chimera's turn. He draws and gets a second Pentacle Gear. During his standby phase, Travis gets his hand back off screen. Chimera then summons his second Pentacle Gear in attack mode, just to get more life points out of Pentacle of Healing in case Travis survives. I assume anyway. He commands Pentacle of Iron to do another direct attack. However, Travis has a hand effect as well. He activates the effect of the Particle Shield from his hand. By discarding it, the attack of one monster with 2000 attack or less is negated, so Iron's attack is blocked. Chimera then orders his 5th Pentacle of Mars to attack directly. It connects, and Travis takes 1500 points of damage. Travis is knocked down, and Chimera is disappointed. He was expecting so much more from Travis. Because only in the Yu-Gi-Oh universe could you go through 6 layers of solid steel, face first, kick someone's ass in a fight, and survive a fall off a building onto another building, and be considered underwhelming because you're struggling in a card game. Regardless, Chimera ends his turn and thus gains another 2000 life points from the Pentacle of Healing. Anyway, Travis gets up and takes his turn. He draws and gets Shieldon. He summons Shieldon and orders it to attack the Pentacle of Mars, dealing 100 damage to Chimera. But more importantly, that means Travis can activate spells again. And during his second main phase, he immediately takes advantage of this, activating Lightning Vortex. He discards Tyrant Dragon from his hand to the graveyard in order to destroy all of Chimera's face-up monsters. Chimera lets this happen? Oh, so now you think it's stupid to leave gears on field. I get that you can't protect Iron, but now you don't choose to protect the gears? I know your hand. I reverse engineered this duel. I know you have the Pentacle of Solomon and Full Salvo in your hand. So if you really want to protect Full Salvo that badly, just save 1 gear. And after that you can just switch it to defense mode and just gain another 500 life points from the Pentacle of Healing. Good lord, Chimera. You're cool, but you're so freaking stupid and inconsistent. I can't even chalk it up to you being a diversity hire. You're a clone for the love of... I'm getting off topic again. Let's just call it a misplay or questionable at best and move on. Travis ends his turn without setting Draining Shield again, but Shield Arm's effect is an okay excuse as to why he doesn't do it, so I'm not going to give him too big of a misplay in this one.
though it is still a misplay. It's Chimera's turn. He draws and gets the Pentacle of the Moon! Sorry, I don't know where that came from. Anyway, he finally sets his full salvo face down, and it's his turn. It's Travis's turn. He draws and gets Raigeki Break. He orders Shield Arm to attack directly. However, this is where Chimera reveals his face down full salvo. It forces Chimera to discard his entire hand to deal Travis 200 points of damage per card. And this is where there's another mistake. Chimera says he has 3 cards in hand, but I've actually been counting. He should have 2. He had 5 cards at the beginning of the duel, plus 1 for when he drew for turn, minus 1 when he summoned Pentacle Gear, minus 1 when he discarded in order to avoid Torrential, minus 1 when he activated Pentacle of Healing, minus 1 when he negated Sword Revealing Light with Mars, plus 1 when he drew for turn, minus 1 when he summoned the second Pentacle Gear, plus 1 when he drew for turn, minus 1 when he set full salvo, which means that Chimera is cheating! Which means that he must have another card hidden up his sleeve or up his duel disc. So why he didn't just go all the way and discard 4 cards, I don't know, aside from he hasn't activated the seal yet, so therefore can't take Travis's soul. Which, now you're choosing to obey Valtor? So that itself is an error on the scriptwriter. But I get it. Sometimes keeping track of hands and life points and all that stuff, sometimes things just slip through the cracks. Unfortunately though, unlike Travis's disappearing, reappearing hand, this does affect the continuation of the duel. But no hate, it's just an honest mistake in order to script a really cool moment, and they've only gotten better in the 12 years since this came out. 12 years. Man, how do I negate time? Anyway, Chimera discards his 3 cards and does 600 points of damage to Travis. And despite there only being 3 cards discarded, 5 missiles are launched, because math is hard. Now the graveyard effects of Chimera's 3 monsters activate upon being discarded. And this is where I have to rely on Dueling Book to help with these cards and their stats. So yeah. He special summons the Pentacle of Solomon, a level 8 light spellcaster monster with 3000 attack and 2500 defense. The second Pentacle of Jupiter, a level 6 water aqua monster with 2000 attack and 1200 defense. And the first Pentacle of the Moon, a level 9 earth rock monster with 3500 attack and 1200 defense. And this is the moments where Chimera lost the duel, but I'll explain why in the conclusion section. Anyway, Travis calls off his attack, sets Raigeki Break face down, and it's his turn. It's Chimera's turn. He draws, or rather he's supposed to, but we don't even see him draw the card. And I've checked the cards on Dueling Book, none of them mention something like, while this card is face up, skip your draw phase, or anything like that. You know what, fuck it. Let's just say that he didn't draw, to make up for having 3 cards in his hand last turn. Okay? He orders the Pentacle of Solomon to attack Shield Arm. However, Shield Arm's effect activates. If it's targeted for attack while it's in attack position, Travis can change it to defense mode and immediately end the battle phase. Chimera ends his turn. His healing spell goes off, giving him an extra 1500 life points. Chimera then teases Travis about Carlos being gone for good, and Travis gets really pissed off. It's Travis's turn. He draws and gets Dandelion. He reveals his face down card, Raigeki Break. At the cost of discarding 1 card from his hand, he can destroy 1 card on the field. He discards Dandelion and targets Solomon. Why he isn't targeting the Moon with 3500 attack points, I don't know. Maybe it's out of spite for attacking his Shield Arm. But, more importantly, Travis missed a golden opportunity to have a Destroy the Moon reference. So, major misplay, Travis. But it doesn't really matter, as the effect of the Pentacle of Jupiter activates. At the price of 500 life points, it can negate 1 trap card that's been activated by the opponent. So, it negates and destroys Raigeki Break. Regardless though, Dandelion still went to the graveyard, and it's an if effect. So since it went to the graveyard, Travis can special summon 2 fluff tokens to defense position. They're both level 1 plant monsters with no attack or defense. With all that done, he finally sets Draining Shield and ends his turn. Wait, he's not switching Shield Arm back to attack mode? Cause none of the custom cards in Dueling Book mention a clause where it can't change battle position until the end of Travis's next turn, like a Goblin Attack Force, for example. Let's just say that Chimera made Travis so mad that he misplayed and forgot to switch Shield Arm to attack position again. So misplayed to Travis, and Chimera finally did something intelligent. Let's continue. It's Chimera's turn. He draws but isn't shown. I think I knew what he drew though, but I'll get back to that. He orders first Pentacle of the Moon to attack a fluff token. However, Particle Shield's effect activates illegally. I'll explain why after I read the second effect. See, if Travis would take damage from a monster with 2,000 or more attack points, Travis can remove this card from play, negate the attack, and at the end of the battle phase, special summon it. Yes, you heard that right. Banish it, negate the attack, end the battle phase, then special summon to the field, meaning you could potentially just do this combo over and over again. What's illegal about this is that Travis's monsters were in defense position, so he was about to take 0 damage. So how is Particle Shield's effect activating? And none of the Pentacle cards on the field inflict piercing damage, or allow 4 piercing damage. Now maybe they meant if you were attacked by a monster with 2,000 or more attack points, or this is some pre-errata Wabaku ruling, in which case, fair enough, I'm wrong. But by conventional rulings, this is illegal. But screw it, let's just say it's a Wabaku thing, and this isn't cheating involved, and move on. Chimera is floored by Travis to protect not only his life points, but his monsters yet again. And he knows Obelisk is coming. Pause. Yet he can do nothing about it. He ends his turn, and Particle of Healing gives him another 1,500 life points. It's Travis's turn. He draws and gets Fiend Sanctuary. And guess what? He decided to cheat like Chimera did, because now he has an extra card in his hand. Remember how I tracked Chimera's hand? I did the same for Travis. He had 5 cards in his hand to start a duel. +1 for drawing, -1 for summoning Cryo's Egg, -1 for sending Torrential, -4 for Pentacle of Iron banishing them, +1 for drawing for turn, -1 for immediately activating the Sword of Revealing Light, +4 because Iron gave him his hand back, -1 for discarding Particle Shield to block Iron's attack, +1 for drawing, -1 for summoning Shield Arm, -1 for activating Lightning Vortex, -1 for paying for Lightning Vortex's cost, +1 for drawing, -1 for sending Raigeki Break, +1 for drawing, -1 for paying Raigeki Break's cost, -1 for sending Draining Shield. And now here we are when he draws per turn, and he has 2 cards in hand. So unless he found Fiend Sanctuary in Carlos's hat, and he actually drew Obelisk this turn, Travis is cheating! Look, I want to take time to say that I really do love Revelation of the Sea of Orichalcos. It's a good series, and I have nothing but respect for everyone involved, especially since they're still continuing it all these years later. And all these problems that I keep bringing up are out of passion for a series I enjoy, and a game that I have an abusive relationship with. So again, all of the singer and stuff, it's not out of anger at the creators or the show. They were freaking teenagers at the time. They weren't focused on rulings or cards in hand or all that other stuff. They were probably focused on studying for the next test and if they'd have a date to prom or something. Although now that I say that out loud, it makes me imagine Valtor's actor slipping into character while in class. Alright students, can anyone tell me what 9 plus 10 is? I think you'll find it's 21. I'm sorry, but that's incorrect. Execute him. So in the end, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. But hey, it's a fan series that's free on YouTube with next to no budget. And any budget that there is came out of their own wallets. So I gotta respect that they're doing all of this with next to no budget. And nowadays I know they have a Patreon so they can actually afford an actual budget and all that stuff. So yeah, nothing but respect, and I'll try to calm down now. Anyway, with all that out of my system, let's get back to the duel. It's still Travis's turn. He sacrifices Pentacle Shield and 2 Fluff Falcons in order to tribute summon Obelisk, the Tormentor! He then uses the second card he has in his hand, the spell card Fiend Sanctuary. It special summons a Metal Fiend token to the field. This token is a level 1 Dark Fiend monster with no attack or defense. It does have more effects, but those parts aren't relevant, as Travis now activates Obelisk's effect. By sacrificing 2 monsters, Shield Arm and Metal Fiend token, it not only destroys all attack position monsters Chimera controls, but also performs a direct attack at the same time. This ends Travis's turn. It's Chimera's turn, and the penultimate turn of the duel. He draws and laughs like a maniac, bragging how he drew a card that's even stronger than Obelisk. A new card created by Valtor himself to overthrow the Egyptian gods. The card he drew? Pentacle 0, Terror God. Chimera then removes all the Pentacle monsters in his graveyard from play in order to special summon the Pentacle 0, Terror God in attack mode. In addition, Terror God's attack is equal to the combined attack power listed on all the Pentacle cards he removed from play to summon it, meaning its attack points are 11,800. Travis is so scared that he makes an over 9,000 joke, meaning he's completely redeemed himself from the Destroy the Moon missed opportunity earlier. For his next move, Chimera is shown pulling a card out of his duel disc, the Sea of Orichalcos. I know it's meant to show that he's cheating, pulling a card out of thin air, but A, they've been doing that the whole duel, and B, remember how I said I think I knew what that card he drew last turn was? I think that he's not actually cheating, at least not at the time. I think he drew the Seal of Orichalcos. Why he didn't activate it last turn, I don't know. So, he's an idiot, but he's not actually cheating. At least not this time. He probably just put his hand under his disc so that he can pose dramatically. And, wait a minute. Didn't he grow a dual disc out of his arm? Where and how did he hide that? Is it like holding a pencil in your ear or holding something under your arm? How does that work? Regardless though, Chimera activates his field spell, the Seal of Orichalcos. Now, Terror God's attack points raised by 500. But more importantly, say it with me kids, if you lose the duel, you lose your soul! Chimera orders Terror God to attack Obelisk, attempting to go for game. But Travis activates his trap card, Draining Shield. Now, Chimera's attack is negated, and Travis gains the life points equal to Terror God's attack points. Travis is confident that he and Obelisk are safe, but then Chimera reveals another one of Terror God's effects, at the price of 1,000 life points. Terror God can perform a second attack this turn. It does so. Obelisk is destroyed, and Travis is knocked down to 4,100 life points, meaning he's technically healthier than when he started this duel. You know, if you ignore all the damage during the duel, the internal bleeding, the broken bones, and you know, other minor stuff like that. Satisfied in killing a god, Chimera declares, Chimera then gains 500 life points from his Pentacle of Healing off screen. It's Travis' turn, and the final turn of the duel. He draws and gets Inferno Reckless Summon. He activates the effect of the Cryo Seg in his graveyard from the very beginning of the duel. By banishing it, he can special summon one Cryos monster straight from his deck. He special summons the tuner monster, Cryos Engineer. He then immediately follows that up by activating the quick play spell, Inferno Reckless Summon. Because he special summoned a monster with 1,500 or fewer attack points, he can special summon as many monsters as possible with the same name from his hand, deck, or graveyard in attack position. So, he special summons 2 more Cryos Engineers. Travis then tells Chimera that he's allowed to do the same, but assumes that there's no way he has any more copies of that Terror God in his deck. Unfortunately for Travis, he's wrong. Dead wrong. As Chimera special summons 2 more Pentacle Zero Terror Gods from his deck. Now, while this looks cool visually and is a heart-stopping moment, to be sure, the Terror Gods were summoned with 0 attack points, as they weren't special summoned through their own effects. But to be fair, Inferno Reckless Summon doesn't specify that the opponent has to summon them in attack mode, so we could summon them in defense mode. Mind you though, given the beginning of this duel, summoning a monster with 0 attack points in attack position fits this duel perfectly. And as we've shown, Chimera wasn't hired for his brain. So I'll let you at home speculate on what position the monsters are in. Now Travis activates the first effect of his Cryos Engineer. By triggering it, he can special summon a level 4 or lower Cryos monster from his deck. He special summons Red Cryos. Red Cryos' effect then activates. On summon, it can special summon a blue Cryos straight from the deck. He then does the same effect with his second Cryos Engineer, triggering it in order to special summon a green Cryos straight from his deck. And with everything ready, Travis then has his level 2 Engineer tune his level 3 blue Cryos, his level 3 red Cryos, and level 4 green Cryos, in order to synchro summon level 12 Radiant Cryos! Cryos Engineer's second effect then activates. Since it was used for the synchro summon of a Cryos monster, Travis can draw 1 card from his deck. He draws and gets Damage Filter. Travis then activates the effect of Radiant Cryos. Since it was synchro summoned successfully, it destroys all monsters the opponent controls, and both players take damage equal to the combined levels of all the opponent's monsters, times 200. Chimera controls 3 level 12 Terror Gods, so both players will be taking 7,200 points of damage. Chimera then reminds Travis that both of their life points are under 7,200, so this duel is going to end in a draw. But then Travis reminds him that this isn't the Unleashed universe, and activates quick play spell Damage Filter, which will have all the effect damage that he takes for this turn, meaning he'll take 3,600 points of damage while still having 500 life points remaining. Chimera, however, will have nothing left. Radiant Cryos then activates this effect, destroying all 3 Terror Gods, winning the duel and reducing Chimera to dust.
So, does the Orichalcos still get his soul if there's nothing left?
Actually, probably, since souls are more a metaphorical thing than a biological thing. Anyway, the garage crumbles around Travis as he finally passes out. So, was Chimera able to defeat Travis? Probably, but when you actually analyze the duel, both people were dueling like morons and cheating blatantly. They both should have set their trap cards on their first turns, and they both shouldn't have had more cards in their hands than they did. I will say though, despite the errors in the actual logic of the duel, when you watch it, it is a really epic duel and one of the best revelations ever made. Though I think Chimera should have won sooner if he just set that full salvo on his first turn, because after the failed torrential, Iron banishes his hand. You could have set full salvo as well, and when he tries to use swords, negate them with Mars. Then activate full salvo, summon all of your Pentacles, and wipe him out. Now, depending on the turn, Particle Shooter may block 1 or 2 attacks, but Travis will be in a much worse spot. But then again, Chimera is trying to steal Travis and win. He can't do both by activating full salvo early. And as for Travis, set your damn draining shield earlier, and switch that shield arm to attack position next time. And I know this led to a cool moment at the ending, but maybe after your swords failed, you should have activated the Cryos egg in order to special summon more Cryos monsters and defend your life points. Oh, and most importantly, don't cheat! Really, what's funny in hindsight is, remember how I said earlier that Chimera just lost the duel the moment he activated full salvo? Well, what's funny about that is that Chimera actually had an out to Radiant Cryos. The second Pentacle of Jupiter, the one that can negate trap cards at the cost of 500 life points. Its effect in the hand is that if you would take effect damage from your opponent, you can discard this card in order to reduce the damage to 0. But of course, Chimera couldn't know this, unless he actually does have psychic powers, in which case he should have actually held on to it longer. It's just funny in retrospect. It's also kind of funny how Jupiter has lower stats than the moon. Clearly the stats don't correlate to the size of the actual planets in real life, but then again, neither do the planet series, so... Well, what do you all think? Let me know in the comments below and give me some suggestions for what duel you want me to break down next. And if you want to know what happens to Travis, go watch Revelations of the Seal of Orichalcos to find out for yourself. Link is in the description. With all that said, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Rusev Day, and I wish you all a Happy New Year. Later!